Okay, so when you're just like walking down the street, not really thinking about much,
Uh,
and then bam, the smell just hits you. Maybe, I don't know, baking bread or fresh cut grass or
yeah, chlorine from a swimming pool.
exactly, and it just instantly throws you back, maybe years, decades even. It's like a little time machine moment. We've all felt that, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a really common but still pretty amazing experience how a smell or maybe a sound can just unlock this incredibly vivid memory, often with all the feelings attached.
Right, and it happens without us even trying. So that's what we're really digging into today. Why are these sensory memories so, well, so powerful?
Yeah, what makes them feel so immediate and real?
We've been looking into some fascinating ideas, pulling particularly from philosophy, specifically the work of Edmund Husserl.
Now, philosophy can sound a bit daunting, maybe.
Yeah, but don't worry, this isn't going to be some super abstract lecture. We want to connect his ideas directly to these everyday time machine moments we all experience.
So our kind of mission here, if you like, is to help understand the mechanics behind these moments. Why does that specific scent or that old song feel like such a direct line to the past?
Okay, so Husserl. Let's start there. He was a philosopher, early 20th century, and he was really focused on our first-person experience.
Right. Not so much the objective brain science, but how things actually appear to our consciousness, how we perceive and make sense of the world from the inside out.
Yeah, phenomenology, that's the term, isn't it? Studying the structures of experience.
Exactly. And one of his really core ideas, which is super relevant here, is this concept called intentionality.
Intentionality, okay, sounds a bit technical, but the basic idea is it's actually pretty simple, isn't it?
It is. It just means that our conscious experiences are always about something. They're directed towards something, an object, an idea, a feeling.
So like if I'm looking at this microphone, my consciousness is directed at the microphone. My thoughts aren't just, floating randomly.
Precisely. They have a target, a focus. It's this inherent aboutness of consciousness. When you hear a song, your awareness is about that music, maybe about the memories it triggers.
Okay, so how does this aboutness explain the smell thing, that sensory memory trigger?
Well, think about, say, the smell of pine wood smoke. It's not just registered as odor molecules detected.
Right. For me, it might instantly become campfire nights or winter walks. It's loaded with meaning.
Exactly. Your consciousness directs itself through the smell towards those meanings, those memories. The smell itself becomes intentional. It points beyond itself. It's not neutral.
So the smell isn't just data coming in. Our mind actively gives it that personal significance. It's about the campfire or about winter.
Precisely. Or, that specific perfume isn't just a chemical compound. It becomes grandma visiting or that summer holiday.
Ah, okay. So consciousness links the sensation to the meaning, the memory, the person.
Yes. And here's where it gets really interesting with those sudden memory triggers. When that smell hits you, the intentional object, the aboutness of your consciousness actually shifts.
Shifts how?
Well, one second you're aware of, say, the present smell of coffee brewing. The next second, that smell triggers something, and your awareness is suddenly pulled towards, I don't know, your university library cafe from years ago.
Without you deciding to think about it. It just happens.
Right. And Husserl saw memory itself as an intentional act, a form of consciousness. It's consciousness directed towards something that has been, something not present right now.
So like our consciousness is usually pointed at the now, but a trigger can suddenly redirect it to point at the then.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He distinguished normal perception from memory, calling memory a specific consciousness of the moment that has been. The trigger sort of activates that mode of consciousness.
But these memories, they aren't just like recalling a fact, are they? They feel incredibly vivid, almost like you're reliving it. Very emotional, too.
Absolutely. And this is where another concept, sometimes called double intentionality, helps. It's the idea that in that moment of remembering, you're simultaneously aware of two things.
You think?
You're aware of the memory itself, the past event, the smells, the sounds, but you're also aware of yourself in that past moment and yourself in the present moment experiencing the trigger.
Whoa, okay. So I'm here now, snowing the rain on the pavement, but I'm also kind of there feeling like I did as a kid during that summer storm. It's layered.
Exactly. It's this double layer of aboutness, about the past event and about my past and present self experiencing it, that makes it feel so lived, so immediate, and not just like an abstract thought.
That makes a lot of sense for why they feel so potent.
It does. And to really grasp how our minds can even do this merging of past and present, we need to touch on Husserl's ideas about time. about the temporality of consciousness.
Temporality, right? How we experience time. And his point was, we don't just experience time as like separate snapshots, do we?
No, not at all. It's not like a slideshow of disconnected moments. Consciousness flows. It's a continuous stream.
And each present moment isn't just isolated.
Right. It carries echoes of what just happened and leans into what's about to happen. He broke the now down into 3 interconnected parts.
Okay, I remember this. There's retention.
Yes, retention. That's the immediate past that's still kind of lingering in your awareness, like the echo of a word just spoken.
The primal impression, that's the actual now, the point of contact with reality.
Exactly. And then there's pretension.
Retention. That's the anticipation, looking just ahead to the next moment.
Precisely. And the crucial thing is how they flow together. What you anticipate in pretension becomes the primal impression, which then immediately fades into retention as the next moment arrives. It's seamless.
Like listening to music. You hear a note,
While still holding the previous notes in your mind, that's retention.
and you're kind of expecting the next note or chord pretension.
Perfect analogy. That's how we hear a melody, not just isolated sounds. So our present moment is always thick with this immediate past and future edge.
Okay, so that explains the flow. But what about those really old memories, the ones triggered from years ago? They're not just in that immediate retention echo, are they?
No, they're deeper. Husserl acknowledged that our past experiences don't just vanish. They get stored, sedimented, you could say, within our consciousness.
Sedimented, like layers building up over time.
Kind of. These past experiences form a background, a horizon that subtly shapes our present perception, our habits, our expectations, often without us consciously realizing it. It's part of what makes us who we are.
So this stored past is always there, influencing us.
In a way, yes. Phenomenologists talk about memory broadly, including this passive shaping by the past. And when a sensory cue, that smell, that sound, strongly resonates with a piece of that sedimented past.
It's like it digs down and activates it, pulls it out of the background.
Exactly. It ignites that stored material, bringing a specific past moment, which was just a latent potential, right into the forefront of our active awareness.
Which connects to another distinction he made, right? Between that automatic retention and deliberately trying to remember something.
Yes. He distinguished between retention, that ongoing automatic holding on to the very recent past, like the beginning of this sentence,
Right.
and recollection, which is the intentional act of trying to retrieve a memory from further back, like consciously thinking, what did I do last weekend?
Okay, so retention is automatic flow. Recollection is deliberate retrieval.
But the fascinating thing about these sensory triggers is how they seem to blur that line. They bring back these deep past memories, recollection territory, but spontaneously, without conscious effort. It feels more like retention in its immediacy, but it's pulling from much deeper.
So the smell of, I don't know, old books doesn't require me to try to remember the library. It just does it.
Precisely. It bypasses the deliberate search. Husserl might call this a kind of passive synthesis or association. The mind automatically links the present sensation with a stored related experience.
An experience that was maybe just part of the background horizon of consciousness suddenly jumps into focus?
Exactly. And because it's involuntary, sensory-driven, and bypasses that deliberate effort, it often feels less like remembering and more like, well, re-experiencing.
Which is where that idea of body memory comes in, that it's not just representing the past, but reenacting it.
Yeah, that's a compelling way to think about it. The trigger activates not just the informational content, but potentially the felt sense, the bodily state associated with the original experience.
So that's why the song from Prom might actually make your heart race a bit again, or why a certain disinfectant smell can bring back a wave of hospital anxiety.
It seems likely. The emotions were part of the original sedimented experience. The trigger doesn't just recall the event, it can reawaken those reverberating elements of past emotions. They come back with the memory because they were part of it.
It's like going back to your childhood home after years away. The sights, the smells,
Yeah.
it can be almost overwhelming.
Right. You get this strange overlap. Your present perception of the place mixes with those reactivated feelings and perceptions from your younger self. It can feel quite uncanny, that layering of time.
So our living present, which normally includes just that immediate retention and pretension, suddenly gets expanded, doesn't it? It stretches back to include this distant past moment, brought right into the now.
That's a great way to put it. Merleau-Ponty, another phenomenologist influenced by Husserl, talked about every perception having a horizon of retentions. In these involuntary flashbacks, it's like a really deep layer of that horizon gets powerfully activated and pulled into the present focus.
Okay, so let's try and tie this together. Why based on this Husserlian view? Are these triggers so impactful, so emotional?
Well, first, it's that intentionality. The sensory input isn't just raw data. It's already infused with personal meaning, pointing towards something significant from our past.
Got it. Meaning is key.
Second, it's the temporality. That meaning, that past experience, hasn't just disappeared. It's been preserved, sedimented within the ongoing flow of our consciousness, within that retentional background.
Okay, so the past is still present in a way.
And third, the reconnection often happens very directly through the body and senses. It's not an abstract intellectual recall. It's often felt, experienced, almost reenacted, which gives it that vividness and emotional charge. Sometimes even more than just seeing an old photo.
Plus, there's the surprise factor, right? Because it's involuntary, it bypasses our expectations, our pretensions, it just arrives.
Absolutely. That lack of anticipation can intensify the feeling. It catches us off guard, disrupts the normal flow for a moment.
The flow gets rerouted.
Yeah.
Our attention snaps from the present task to this unfolding memory.
Exactly. So for Husserl, these moments aren't just weird glitches. They're powerful illustrations of how consciousness works, its intentional nature, its temporal structure. Memory isn't just retrieving data, it's a reactivation, a representing of a past phenomenon to consciousness.
Almost a reliving, but with that quality of pastness still attached.
Yes, exactly. It's that complex layering the past event, the past emotion, the past self, all experienced within the present awareness that creates that unique, sometimes poignant mix of familiarity and strangeness.
So for everyone listening, maybe take a moment to think about your own experiences with this, that smell, that song. Can you see how these ideas might apply?
Yeah, reflecting on it through this lens, intentionality, the meaning you bring, temporality, how your past is carried forward, might offer a new perspective on those powerful moments.
It really underscores this idea of the richness of inner time consciousness.
Hmm.
We're not just experiencing the now, we're constantly living in this stream where past, present, and future are interwoven.
Merleau-Ponty put it beautifully, saying, each present moment draws along its horizon of retentions and bites into the future with its pretensions. These triggers just vividly reveal that deep horizon.
And what this philosophical approach offers, maybe compared to just a brain scan explanation, is an understanding from the inside, why it feels the way it does.
Right. It helps explain the subjective quality, the meaningfulness of the experience, which comes from how our consciousness itself is structured.
So these flashbacks, these sensory time machine moments, they're not really aberrations. They're more like an intensified version of the normal way our consciousness connects us to our own past, moment by moment.
A reminder of the continuity of our conscious life woven through time.
So wrapping up, the takeaway is that these sensory triggers are so potent because they tap right into the core structure of how we experience reality. That intentional aboutness loads sensations with meaning.
And our temporal consciousness, the flow of retention and the sedimentation of the past, keeps that meaning alive, ready to be reawakened.
And when it's reawakened through the senses, it brings the past back with incredible vividness and emotional force because it's almost like a fragment of that past experience is being represented, relived within our present awareness.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. If we are, in a sense, living archives, constantly carrying our past within us, what other, maybe more subtle, moments or experiences are quietly shaping how we feel and act right now? Things we don't even notice.
Makes you wonder what else is bubbling away under the surface, connecting our past to our present and future. Definitely something to pay more attention to in our everyday sensory world.
Indeed. It highlights the incredible ongoing interplay of time and meaning within our own minds.